Aloha, welcome. Happy Aloha Friday. We are ready for a new weekend. Let me give the pups. Oh, you want to smell it instead of grab it. We got a new type of treat for the dogs today, and they're kind of cute. They're kind of here. Let's see if this one will put it down. Nope, you're not going to put it down. That's the new treat right in there. I go get your treat. Oh, are you going to growl at mommy? And also, we'll see how they like. They're really small. They got like a little rawhide thing and then a chicken nugget type thing on the end. Oh, you're going to sit behind me and eat it. Yes, of course. So we'll see how that works. Outside of that, I've got a whole bunch of treats. I've got chicken jerky recipe. Oh, God, if she sees that, we're in trouble. That's her favorite. And then I got the pork and chicken sausage recipe. So we got plenty of treats here to keep them quiet. Hopefully, they'll be behaving. Who knows if they will or not? This one's already planning something. So, hey. Hey, Grandma Sherry. Love you, my dear. Hope you're doing good, my dear. Been thinking about you. And gonna be listening in. That sounds like a plan. Sounds like a definite plan. I always love that little bunny when I see it pop into chats. Always love the little bunny. And Miss Christola is there. And Christola, gang, has given us something I'm going to play at the end of the live. You guys got to wait till the end of the live to see exactly what it is. But she did an awesome job with it, and I can't wait to play it for y'all. So if I don't forget, Christola, don't let me forget. You know me. You know my memory. You know what will happen. Yeah. And then we have Princess Megan. Aloha, aloha. She is here. It's like, here. Yes. Miss Princess Megan is here. Thank you, my dear. And she was first, actually, in chat. Third that I mentioned because I went opposite direction, but yes. And there's my Rosalie. Hey, Rosalie, how you doing, my dear? Love you. And I hope you're doing good. How are the kitties doing? And she's got some the cutest. Of course, the girl who's like, no, I'm not getting any more pets. No more cats. Nope, not getting. Now she's got a house filled with what? Two, right? Just two. So I guess I can't say anything. Yeah, COVID sucks. It's all. Are you sick right now, Rosalind? You got the seat? I'm hoping that you're just saying COVID sucks because it brought you tons of cats in the house. But I have a funny feeling you're fighting. If you're fighting it, sending you energy, my dear, sending you energy. Love you, my dear. Yup, you do. Everyone send energy over to Miss Rosaling's way. And we've got Miss Hope. Hey, Hope, welcome. And thank you for popping in the other night. And it was nice to have. I was really surprised how many people joined last night's Amber Alert because it was late. And I've been worried because I may have to go back to jobs where I'm not at home, but actually out in the field type thing. And I've been worried about because I can't do lives at 4 in the afternoon if I'm working out in the field. So I've been worried. So that was kind of good to see so many people there last night. But the good news is Legend, the little boy, the 11-month-old that was missing yesterday, was found and he's safe. I have not been able to update it yet, but we did have someone posted in comments about it. And I was reading everything. He is safe. So little Legend is found and safe. So that's great news there. Kerm the Frog. Hello, Herkerm. How you doing, my dear? It ain't easy being green. I know that's not the thing, but yeah. Why are there so many songs about rainbows and what like? Okay, whatever. This is not karaoke, is it? And I don't want to run you guys away with singing right now, but you like the purple frame around the edges? Thank you, my dear. I'm a purple junkie. I love anything purple. Purple does it for me. So if it's got purple, I'm a happy camper. And yes, I was so happy when I saw that Legend was safe. Yes, he was with his parents, and they were both parents. But you know what? When you're out on the run, it's not safe. It's not safe. Okay. And so Rosalind is on the downside of COVID. So, okay, that's good. That's good. So you're doing okay, breathing and all that. Luckily, COVID's kind of gotten to that level. Thanks, Crystal. And yeah, COVID's kind of gotten to that level where it's kind of like just a really bad cold. But for some people, it can get very serious at the same time. So anyhow, anywho, anyhow, any wire, any why, any whatever. We've got a couple lives for this evening. Mental health live first, and as you can see, we are going to be talking about triggers today. I found a really nice little article that was talking about what can we learn from our triggers. Okay, rather than just live with our triggers, what can we learn? Yes, Crystal, I'm hearing the same thing that COVID is starting to pick up again. And I think a lot of that is it's kind of like the flu. It runs on a rotational period based off of, okay, time of year, all sorts of different things going on with that. And I think that's what, okay, COVID for us is going to probably become like a new flu. Okay, every year you end up with, yep, hope you just read my mind. That popped up in chat at the same exact moment as I was saying it. COVID is the new flu. Yeah, jinx. And also, hopefully everyone will stay safe. And also, but yeah, we're gonna, whoopsie, sorry, I know the dogs will grab this. Let me grab this before they grab it. I was at the Made in Hawaii fair last weekend and I bought this huge, I've eaten half of it already. It's actually a fruit roll up, homemade fruit roll up. And also, I do not want my pups eating it because it's too good. It is like super big. Look how big that thing is. It's so good. Oh my God, it's so good. It's got peach, apple, pear, strawberry. It's just really, really good. Um, it may trigger. Oh, is that true, Cristola? Ooh, that's interesting. That's interesting. The bots will come after us. Oh yes. Oh yes. So okay. So we're going to start off with our mental health subject for the day. So talk about our triggers. Talk about what we can learn from them. You thought it was a huge beef stick. Oh, now that'd be good too. I love a good beef. Oh my God. Yeah. Slim Jims, beef jerky, fan. In fact, that's I got through Made in Hawaii by eating the whole time. It was like roasted corn on the cob, homemade beef jerkies because there were like six different uh areas where people made beef jerky. Oh my God, it was so good. Anyhow, that can go to Cantina, which will be our second live. So I did set this up where after this live today, you will be taken over to Cantina. So if you want to just stay there, it will pop up in 2 hours, just under 2 hours from now. So, and for those of you on Cantina, I actually sent you back to this so you can watch this if you haven't watched it. So we'll see how that goes. I've never done that before. It's going to be a wild goose chase. Just keep doing the circle over and over. Yeah. Okay, like I need any more caffeine right now. But anyhow, I had an amazing, amazing while I'm moving us over to banners right now. I had a great time at Daisy May's channel earlier. I walked in there because I just wanted to go in and support her, and I noticed they were talking about Maui. And I just got, guys, I'm still doing a lot of work on Maui, trying to pull information together, and I will be doing another live for you guys on Maui. um, I've been talking with some people over there. They're actually sending me pictures from the ground over there right now. And that's what I'm waiting on is the pictures. But I've gotten a lot of good information from them about where to donate from. All I'm going to say real quickly for this one, then we're going to move on, is where they need money right now, according to the locals on the ground there, is the agencies that help them with food. Okay, so like the Maui Food Bank, Mercy Kitchen. I wrote all this. Mercy Chefs was the other one, and World Kitchen. So, but I've got a lot of information we can talk about later, whether it's during Cantina and then another live later or whatever. So, but where are we for mental health stuff? Okay, we're gonna talk triggers. Okay, and let's start it off with this little thing here. What the heck is a trigger? Every one of us in here has triggers in our life. Okay, they're different for each of us, but all of us have them. Whether or not you had any trauma in your life or not, you have things that trigger you. Okay, your child has triggers that are going to make them blow up. Okay, that's where tantrums go from. So, yeah, Christola, that's the thing. There's a lot of conspiracy theories, and I want people to really understand what's going on there. Because I'm someone who loves a good conspiracy theory. I really do. I'm not sure about this one, gang. Sometimes life just sucks, and that's what happened in this case. Just my opinion. That's all. So Triggers themselves, what are they? Okay, if you want to get into the science behind it and everything, you're talking the limbic area of the brain. They're basically our emotional response to certain stimuli, certain things that come at us, whether it be something tactile, something we can touch, something we can hear, smell, see, anything that uses our senses. Okay, and it leads us to a certain response. Okay, kind of like this isn't necessarily a trigger, but to give you an idea with my dogs, if I pull this out right now, okay, and if you can see their tongues, as soon as they see a treat like this, because to them, they have an emotional response, a physical in this case too, to things. They get happy, they wag their tails, they all because they have seen something. Okay, and they've smelled something that they know affects them in a certain way. Now, for us as humans, it could be something like if you've been through, let's go the trauma route, and you've been a victim of SA or something. Maybe you get a trigger to a certain cologne or perfume or aftershave or something like that. And it immediately brings back certain feelings. You get shaky, you get nervous, you get jittery. Okay. Like I said, there could be other things. Hello, Sleuth. How you doing, my dear? And I hope you're having a good Friday. And other things, okay, not even trauma, like I said. Okay, maybe you had a teacher when you were in second grade who never, ever said anything nice about you. They only said nice things about the kids who answered the questions correctly. You might find yourself responding in a certain way as you get older. Okay, you go into second grade or whatever. And if the teacher isn't responding, you might find yourself responding in a different way. So that's what a trigger is. It's something that just gets us and it gets this reaction from us. So recognizing that before we get into the actual what can we learn from different type, because what I want to do today is actually mention specific things that trigger people and what that can be connected to. Kind of like I just said that about if you, okay, for an SA victim, they might find themselves triggered by the smell of something. And then that leads to this. Well, the reason why they have the trigger is because of what happened to them and that person having that aftershave or whatever. So before we go into the that level of discussion, what I wanted to do is something I have not talked, and we're not going to go really in depth on this one yet. I think we may do a new video on it. I have a video about what is called the five fives, the five Fs, I mean. But I even noticed they've changed the five Fs since I did my last video. Okay, in my last video, they used the word fawn, okay, as one of the F's. Now we talk about something called flop. So I wanted to go through these things. These are our response to trauma. And it does come in with the triggers, anxiety, and stuff. And I wanted to do a real quick just rundown on the different ways that we react as human beings to trauma, to anxiety, to things that lead us to anxiety, and things on that level. So there's these five F's. You guys have heard many of them. Okay. I don't know. Guys in chat. Any of you guys know any of these five F's I'm leaning towards? Okay. I kind of gave you away one of them when I said fawn or flop. Okay. Were the two that have interchanged. Anyone, while I'm taking a drink, let's see if anyone can come up with any of the other five F's. While I'm watching my dogs cause trouble below me. Because this is actually a lot of times how I don't know how many of you guys have watched the the TV show Hijacked. As I go through these five F's, what I want to do is look at it from that level of that movie or that TV series. Put a 1 in chat if you saw Hijacked. It's on the Apple TV network. So put a 1 in chat if you have seen Hijacked, because it would help me if I know how many of you actually have seen it. And I will know that I'm not putting everyone to sleep. Hope has never heard of the five F's. That's great. No, that's awesome. Okay, because it's helpful to know because a lot of times people will talk about how, for example, something happens to them and they react a certain way. They freeze. Hint, hint. I just gave away one of them. Okay. And they blame themselves for their response, but they're normal responses from people and all. So, for example, as we go through this, and I'll see how many of you guys, I might be the only one who has seen Hijacked, which, by the way, if you have the Apple TV channel, check out Hijacked. They just finished the season and it's good. Actually, I don't know if it's just season or the whole thing. It's really, really good. So the five F's. Hey, Al, welcome, 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 my dear. And I'll hope this helps out. Now, join us in, and Cooter's here also. Hey, Cooter, how you doing, my dear? And yeah, you guys join in. The way these lives work the best is when we're all talking with each other and all, because again, I am going to remind you guys, I'm no therapist. I don't have a degree in any of this stuff. I'm just someone who has lived through life. And the way I've lived through it is by talking to other people and learning from other people. So that's why I wanted to bring these subjects here, because I'm tired of mental health being a taboo topic. So the five F's. Freeze. You know that one, Hope. You got it. That has worked. Okay, for you. Hey, there you go. Hope caught a couple. Fight, freeze. Yes. So first one we're going to talk about is fighting. Cassie, stop growling, or growling in the case of my dog. But the first one I wanted to address real quick is fighting. Okay. In the case of this TV show, okay, it takes place over 7 episodes. And during those 7 episodes, you've got a plane that has been hijacked and it's on its way to London. It takes 7 hours to get there. So you can see different people reacting to the hijack in a different way. Okay, and that's why I wanted to address this. Other people, there's Rosalie. I knew she would know some of these. And here, get these dogs the good treats here. So fight's one of the first ones. Okay, when all of a sudden you're faced with some sort of trauma or something on that case, whether it be abuse in childhood within the house, whether it's something that happens at work, okay, whether it's a hijacking. Okay, some people respond by fighting. They fight their way through. Okay, that is their way. Others, though, go the opposite direction. Instead of fighting, they run away. They take flight. So if they see something that's a danger, they feel the best way to get out of that danger is to get the hell away where it's nowhere near them. The next group would be those who freeze. Okay, a freeze person, and I'm going to say SA is a very, very good example of this. Okay, a lot of people will say, but I didn't fight. I didn't fight back. Well, that's fine. It's not your fault because you didn't fight back. Again, looking at these types of ways of responding to trauma or responding to things that are dangerous, some people will fight, others freeze. Because the thought in your head is, if I freeze, there's less chance I'm going to get hurt. Okay, I mean, what if the person has a weapon or something like that? Okay, so freezing is one. The next, and this one really happens quite often actually, especially with more of DV type things, or even at work, if you've got a very, abusive workplace type situation. Okay, friending. Okay, if you make friends with the person or with whatever is causing, that trauma, then there's, again, you're not having to fight and risk getting hurt worse. You're not freezing. You're kind of dealing with it in a different way. You're creating that kind of relationship type thing. So that would be another thing people do. And last, and this is where it got interesting. Rosaline, this is where I was having fun. I was like, wait, what? Fawn is not part of it? Fawn used to be part of it. Now I think what they've done is they've changed the word fawn being like a baby deer. Okay, so if you think about a baby deer, they kind of just follow along. They're very moldable, pliable. Okay, they just go along with whatever because that's what they need to do to survive. They need to let mom show them what to do, things like that. So, how they've changed that now is the word flop. I literally just came across this maybe an hour ago, and I'm still trying to figure out why they changed that word a little bit because fawn kind of made sense to me. Flop does, but I'm not sure why they actually, and I don't know if any of you in chat might have an inkling why they changed it from fawn to flop. I do know what they're trying to say is someone who flop, okay, goes in the direction of flop. They said it's very similar to freezing. Okay, basically, muscles become loose, your body goes floppy, okay, and you just shut your mind down and you just exist. So it's an interesting thought with that, and it's actually teenagers flock together. There you go. And um it's actually a reason why, yeah, flop. You got it. You got it. Hope. No problem. It's a hard one to say and get. That's why I use the words on the screen. Um, it's probably the reason why I think I'm going to rework this that live. I did a live about our responses to trauma. Um, but now that is outdated at this point, and I want to make sure it's correct. So I probably going to cover that one again in the near future. But those in general, for a real quick rundown, are the 5 ways most of us tend to react to trauma. Okay, the 5 ways we react to something happening to us that's out of our control. Okay, it started way back in the times of cavemen when you had a T Rex running at you. Okay, how did you respond to those things? Okay, if you walk into a bar and there's a bar fight, how do you respond to the bar fight? Things like that. So, good in knowing that because a lot of times once we realize these are normal responses for us. Okay. Yes, I agree, Rosalind. Even it still applies even if outdated. They've changed the word. That's all they've done. It's still the same actions. They've just changed the way it's worded. And I do still want to research and figure out why they did it. Was it a more PC type thing? They wanted a better wording for it, maybe. I don't know. Problem, Crystal. You're just awesome with sharing links, girl. You're the queen of links, and I love you for that. So where I want to take us now is this. Okay, we've kind of talked about trauma. We've talked about triggers, what are triggers, and how we respond to trauma. Now, what I want to do is take it from that and move it in the direction of different responses we may find ourselves with, okay, as we get older. Okay, triggers that we see. Hey JP, how you doing, my dear? See you around for sure. Take care, my dear. um so certain things we all tend to respond to. Let me just ask you guys in chat real quickly again. Any of you guys feel comfortable sharing what triggers you? What are some of the things that trigger you in life? Okay. Don't feel like you have to share, but if you would like to share, I find it does help us all because we realize we're not the only ones with those triggers. For example, me, one of the biggest triggers for me, and I will break into tears and everything at this from frustration, is if I feel like I don't have control over something that is affecting my life. Okay. Say things are falling apart around me and everything's just coming at me from different directions and it's all falling apart. I feel like I have no control and I will break down into tears. I'll shake, all that. Rosaline, YouTube friends fighting. Yes. Having people you care about fighting with each other. Definitely triggering. Okay, so these things are things that so many of us, and they don't have to be serious stuff. Okay, they don't have to be something like, okay, that came out of something like SA. It can be just things that trigger a certain response from us. Okay, it could be something as small, okay, a manini, as we say in Hawaii, as every time you see the color green, you get pissed off because you had a teacher who used to always drive you crazy, okay, whenever you wore the color green. Okay. Those types of things, they happen. And a lot of the things is trying to figure out what it is behind that trigger for us to actually move forward. I say all the time. In fact, over on Scarlett's channel the other day, she shared the screenshot of the saying, hurt people don't hurt people, they help people because they've been through shit and they want to make sure other people have someone to help them through their shit too. Um, and we were talking about that, the victim mentality, stuff like that. And that's where I think it's important for us to understand where our triggers are coming from, because our triggers are there to protect us on some level because something has happened that upsets us. And if we can understand the reasoning behind that trigger, then we can actually start addressing that and fixing it and looking at how we can make our lives better. It's like me when I figured out that the reason why I would cry and get so frustrated in those situations was because I have to have control over things when it affects me. And if I don't have that control, that loss of control is a major issue for me. It's something I have to address in my life and realize, you know what? I can't control everyone else around me. All I can do is control me and my response to that. And so let's look at the first one. Okay. As we're going through this, basically, I'm going to share with you guys a trigger, something that triggers people. It may trigger you, it may not. And then the next thing I'm going to do is share with you what it is, just one of many different things that could be at the base of that. Those of you in chat, I would love it if you guys could share with me other things that could be connected to that. Because not all these, this is not as easy as 1 + 1 = 2. No, when you're talking about emotions, things can be different. What triggers this in me may trigger it something else in someone else. So it's important for us to understand that. So the first one I wanted to mention, probably the easiest one to kind of figure out, is the fear of someone leaving. I okay, I've talked about being army brat. Okay. I found myself a lot of times how I handled moving all the time was not creating good close relationships. Okay, why create a close relationship if I was just going to move in 2 years? And so many people get this fear when a person who they're close to leaves. Okay, whether it be them leaving for work or leaving on vacation or leaving their life, whatever it is. And hey, Cooter, thank you, my dear. And yeah, I'm tired of mental health being taboo. It's something we all deal with. So, Crystal is saying, I hate feeling in the middle of stuff and get triggered by worrying if somebody doesn't answer. If they're mad at me, like, did I do something wrong? That's actually one of the ones we're going to talk about here for sure. So, this feeling of being scared of someone leaving. Okay. Often, if you pull it back and try to figure out what caused it, okay, many times it's just this maybe something happened when you were growing up, like in my case. Okay. I changed schools every 2 frickin' years, first and second grade, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, all the way through high school years. Okay. For me, there was a serious fear of leaving people I cared about. And it was because I needed to heal from this feeling of always being abandoned by people that I cared about. Okay. My family was amazing. And I never was abandoned by them or anything, but I felt abandoned by many of my close friends. This was before we had YouTube, before we had emails. So there was no way for me to talk with people. So a lot of times, many of us, hey, Canine, welcome, 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 my dear. Okay, a lot of people, when you have dealt with a lot of abandonment or rejection, okay, maybe there's been a case where you have felt rejected by someone that you cared about. And you find yourself over time, that rejection becomes this trigger where anytime you feel like someone's going to leave you, you buckle down and you hold on to them so tight that you're not going to let them go. And it's all connected to that. So once you start realizing that, okay, wait, the rejection of maybe a parent. Maybe a parent, okay, through divorce or whatever, you felt rejection from that. So now it continues in your life with that fear that people are going to leave you. And next one is that feeling, this triggered feeling that you get whenever someone gives you feedback on something. Maybe you are in the middle of creating, okay, a thumbnail. Let's make it easy, nice and easy. You're making a thumbnail, okay, or a post for Facebook or something like that. And you show someone that for their ideas, and they get critical about, oh, yeah, well, what if you change this? And what about this? And what about, and they start doing that. And they're honestly just giving you feedback on it. They're trying to help you with it. However, you get this triggered feeling like any feedback anyone's going to give you must be criticism. They don't like you. They don't like what it is you've done. Everything becomes that. Hope, rejection, yes, your entire life, especially in childhood, never being good enough. And those things affect us. And the problem is, a lot of times these things affect us, but we don't recognize it because it happened when we were children. So we don't recognize as adults, our behavior is still tied to that little girl or little boy there. That's why inner child work is so important for some people, because it truly allows them to heal at that point. So, in a case where someone really has issues with the criticism side of things, okay, they show something and a person makes a comment, okay, that might be critical, and it's like, oh my gosh, the criticism is about me, not about what I just put together, constructive criticism. A lot of times we can find, if we go back in history, you start noticing that, did you have someone in your life when you were growing up that might have been very critical? Maybe someone who was very disapproving in your life. That sometimes it could be a parent, sometimes it could be a grandparent, a sibling, a friend, a teacher. Maybe you had that one teacher that you absolutely adored. Okay, and you tried so hard to show them, okay, how good you were, how smart you were, and stuff like that. But because they were a teacher, they had to grade you and stuff like that. And they were a very hard grader. And so something was going with that case. So you get into this area where it's like, I can never make anyone happy, even though they say, oh, that looks gorgeous. That looks gorgeous. Have you tried maybe moving this word up here to the top? But it looks great. But all you can think of is move this word there. So, yep, hope, exactly. Take everything to, and I've had that myself for other reasons. And that's the thing. That's why I'm saying none of these are exact. 1 + 1 = 2. Okay. Your reason could be something else. But that's why I wanted to bring this out, is so people could start seeing how the connections work. That way, if you sit down, whether it be in Discord, your own journal, in your own head, on recording, I've done that before where I record a journal type thing on my phone, you can start thinking in these ways. And so the next one, how many of you deal with feeling like you get triggered because you feel like you are unimportant to other people? Okay. Maybe you find yourself among a group of friends. Okay. And all of them, it feels like they're all talking and you're kind of on the outskirts. And so that little, I like to call it your little angel and devil on your shoulders or whatever. That little devil on that shoulder is sitting there telling you, yeah, see, they don't care about you. They just keep you in the group because, yeah, you're just part of it. You were there at the beginning. So they just keep you on because that's who you are. You have to be there. And also, your little voice starts telling you about how you are unimportant to everyone else. And that you may not be. You're sitting there in a group and it might be 6 or 7 people talking. The reason why they may not be paying attention to you is because you're not speaking up. Okay, it's kind of like, I don't know how many of you guys were watching the debate, okay, yesterday or the day before yesterday. the people on the outer edge. There were certain people who never spoke up. Does that mean they were less important for the debate? No. It's just they weren't speaking up, and they were not taking their chance to tell their truth or tell what they thought or things like that. So a person like that, Crystal, is saying, my daddy and all my teachers expected her to be something like a lawyer or something, had high expectations. But what am I supposed to be? You're a mama. And that's fine. I know a lot of people, especially in Hawaii, we have a very Asian culture. So school, okay, and high expectations, that's the norm. You get an A minus, you might as well be failing. Put it that way. And also that high expectations affected many of my friends, okay, as they got into adulthood, because they could never in their head feel like they were doing good enough, because the only good was perfect, okay, in that type of family. And but with the feeling unimportant to loved ones, okay, a lot of times if you go back and look and try to figure out, one of the areas you might recognize is, did you have a caregiver, parent, teacher, okay, someone you loved, someone you cared about, okay, that maybe was self focused? This is actually one of the ones, the feeling unimportant to loved ones is one that I think a lot of children of narcissists go through. If you have a narcissistic parent, okay, everything is about them, nothing is ever about the child. Okay, the only way the child becomes important is if they are doing something to celebrate the parent. And so over time, hey, Megan, did I miss Megan come in? Oh, or Princess Megan, I think is who you're talking about. Okay. Hello. I said hi to her also, but I'll say hi again. And but a lot of times when you have that child who most of their life, okay, feels like they don't matter. Okay, that adult figure or whatever was so focused on themselves, okay, or was unavailable. Okay, I think a lot of people, especially my generation, kind of have fought this one a little bit, because so many of us grew up as, you might remember the latchkey children idea. You basically raised yourself for half of your life, and all because parents had to work, and on trying to learn how to deal with it and stuff like that. So, as children, you don't understand. Well, mom has to work, dad has to work. So, you start developing this feeling inside of yourself that, well, am I not as important because they're more focused on them? So, next one, this one's an interesting. How many of you guys have problems? Maybe you shut down, maybe you get, okay, go back to those 5 F's. How many of you find yourself reacting with one of those 5 F's when you hear raised voices? When you, sorry, there go the dogs, raised voices, someone gives you that look. You guys know that look where all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, something's happened. Hey guys, come here, I got prize. Okay, that look all of a sudden like, oh shit, something's happened. What am I gonna do about this? You get that look. And maybe what you find yourself doing real quickly is responding, okay, by freezing. Okay, someone says something a little louder than normal, and you're like, oh shit, what just happened? Okay, so we get into this thing of responding with those 5 F's. Yep, the doggies are very happy right now. I just gave them the good stuff. And so many of us find ourselves in those places and trying to figure out where that comes from. Okay, any ideas? Where would you guys think, if you run into someone or you yourself have problems with raised voices, okay, loud tones, loud sounds, facial expressions, okay, maybe what we call in Hawaii stink eye, okay, which is that little look at you like, okay, I don't like that person. Or maybe it's that look that you get from an authority figure that says, hey, you don't straighten up. And also, yeah, walking on eggshells. Exactly, Hope. Exactly. So, and a lot of these things come down to childhood experiences that maybe were unpredictable. Okay, they were scary. Okay, a lot of times that being triggered by a raised voice, those, okay, some of us, okay, out there, okay, this is not as much of an issue for me anymore, but I know a lot of people who have problems with, yeah, Crystal, exactly. Sounds like they've had to deal with verbal. Okay, verbal, I'm gonna just say the word, sorry, it gets me in trouble, but abuse. Okay, or even physically. Okay, I'm not gonna, I know YouTube gets that way, but why be scared of certain words? They're real. Okay, what happens is real. And but you learn your response. You learn how that trigger works based off of what happened over and over and over. Those of you who went to Catholic school as kids in the old days, you had the teacher come by, Shift, how you doing? Aloha, my dear, love ya. And you had those teachers come by, and I do not have mine here. They had their ruler, and they'd walk by with their ruler like this. I don't know how many of you guys went to Catholic schools with the nuns, but right here. And when the teacher was on that side with that, no problem. But as they got closer and closer to me, not that they'd hit me with it, but what they'd do is they'd whack it on the table next to you, and you'd be like that, and it flipped you out. So you got to this thing of being scared of these loud sounds. And also recognizing that, because the moment I was able to recognize, oh, wait, I tend to jump when that happens and it's tied to these things, it makes the difference. Okay. And that's actually tied to this one here. Okay. Being triggered by loud noises, sensory inputs. So, okay. A lot of times it just comes down to that chaotic environment. Something happened that you are tying in with these noises. Maybe it is screaming and yelling. Okay, how many people I've seen this in kids when I used to teach. Okay, if they heard kids, other people screaming and yelling, okay, they immediately kind of shrunk into themselves. They immediately reacted. They were triggered by the screaming and yelling. The screaming and yelling was just kids playing out on the playground, but the noise was so loud and chaotic that it was triggering something in them. And the child wasn't able to enjoy being on the playground because of it. And because they had this connection going on with them. So, another one, authority. Who here is okay with being told what to do? Okay. Um, it happens. All of us are going to be told what to do at some point in our life. Yeah. I mean, even I'll never forget when I went from being an assistant administrator in a facility to administrator. That first day I walked into my nursing home as the boss. I'm sitting here telling myself, I'm going to know everything that's going on. I can make all my own decisions. I got all these things. I literally went into it that way. And then I got there and I realized, oh, hell no. No, no, no. There's always someone else who's going to tell me what to do. Crystal, you didn't. I was a teacher until I left, oh gosh, probably about mid 20s, probably my mid 20s. I did a lot of after school care, and then that became teaching for a year or two. So, and I loved it. I loved it. Almost became a teacher, but I knew I'd become a principal. So, when you got that management side of you, no way around it, to be honest. So, um, yeah, Princess Megan, you hate it when people tell you how to live your life. There are certain people, okay, we grow up, we get into our teens, okay, and we start trying to pull away. We start trying to create our own identity. And in some cases, we get to this thing of it goes beyond just, I hate it when my boss tells me what to do, to a triggered by stuff like that. Okay, when hey, Kate Crochet, how you doing, my dear? Happy Aloha Friday. You get literally triggered when your boss or your husband or your wife or anyone tells you what to do. You become triggered and you respond. You go back to those 5 F's, okay, where you fight or you, oh, hell, look at it here on YouTube. How many times does someone tell someone else what to do and they get triggered by it and they respond in one of those 5 ways? And so many of us find ourselves being triggered by authority. Okay. And it's full force trigger over it. It's not just, okay, yeah, whatever. Tell me what to do. I'll do it, that part, but I'm not going beyond that. Um, Crystal, despise being told what to do unless it comes to authorities or if it's from your gremlins. And, yep, gremlins doctor, yeah, and that's it exactly. And there's certain people. Oh, my uncle, the one who just passed away, he would he wouldn't even do what the doctors would tell him. He wouldn't even call him doctor. He literally would call them by their first name as doctors because he's like, "Oh hell no, I don't give a shit. You're not authority over me or anything like that." He saw it as an authority thing. Okay, there was some level of almost triggered even with that. Now, what's your guys' thought? Why do you think for some of us we find ourselves triggered by others telling us what to do? Okay, I'm going to try to keep talking long enough for you guys to give me a couple ideas in chat. Why do you think a person, Crystal, why do you think that you despise it when any of those other groups tell you what to do? Or any of you. I'm picking on Cristola, of course, but anyone out there. Okay, what are the things that may have happened that are the issues that you actually need to heal from? Okay, lack of self confidence. Yes, canine. Okay, there could be this lack of self confidence that's brewing underneath that you need to heal because basically, what I'm pulling up after each one with the scroller, the ticker, those are the things you need to heal from. Those are the things that you need to be addressing. So, yes, that lack of self confidence. And to heal from that lack of self confidence, a lot of times you have to go through and try to figure out, okay, where did that come from initially? And what are some of the things that may have led to my lack of self confidence? Okay, was it that I never really had the chance to stand up for myself? Okay, one of the things that I came up with this one is maybe there were past issues with being controlled. Maybe this person was never allowed to have their own voice. Rosaline is saying, even are sensing a lack of self confidence in the authority figure. Yes. Yes. Sensing a lack of, yeah, if that authority figure who's telling you what to do and stuff like that, really, you can tell when they don't have confidence in themselves. We've seen this with Maui lately. Every time they do a press conference, there's certain people that would be speaking up, and you could read in them that they did not have the confidence in themselves, which made it harder for you to believe what they were telling you, to be honest. And it's mom made it. Hey, 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 girl. Some want to make themselves okay, like they know everything and you aren't good enough. The narcissist type, yes. Oh my God, yes. Okay, you get these people, okay, authority figures that are that way. Okay, they know everything because, and they pretend that they know everything because of that lack of self confidence. That's actually a great point there because a lot of times someone who is triggered by authority or being told what to do here might actually be that authority. Okay, and they themselves don't feel comfortable where they are to begin with. So and why don't they feel comfortable? Well, maybe they themselves didn't have the voice. They didn't, okay, they were being controlled by parents maybe at one point, and they never learned how to have that self-confidence in themselves to begin with. You know, that self-confidence that a child comes up to their parents and they say what they feel, and you're like, dang, you just did a damn good job. Okay, your 10-year-old just came up to you and told you exactly what they think. And you're like, hey, you know what? They're learning. They're learning how to say exactly what it is they need. Yes, then they get the attitude after that. You got to deal with that, but that's a different issue. And so next, many of us, and I think this is something almost all of us have dealt with at times. We all deal with it. Now, the question is this: how many of us are triggered by this? Christola said, and then getting told to do something you were already going to because you're not a complete idiot. And then you're like, yep, oh, yes, Christola, oh, yes. So, those of us who are triggered because we don't feel like we're good enough, like we're worthy of something, and we get triggered by it. And that kind of, Crystal, in a way, that kind of fits into this one too. Okay, what you were just saying. And that's the thing. A lot of these things do combine with each other. And that's what gets interesting because this trigger is connected to this issue and this issue. And that's why really working through this stuff on your own is so important because I guarantee you what led up to these triggers for me are not the same as what led up to Jet's mom's triggers or Cristola's. Okay, we all had a different way of growing up and having to deal with the things. And so many people don't feel like they're worthy or good enough. You spend most of your life trying to prove to other people that you're good enough. Okay. It amazes me. I see some people who just seem so self-assured all the time. Okay, some of them, it's an act they're putting on. They just know how to act it. But some of them truly do feel self-assured. And they look it and you can see it on them. Okay, but for some of us, we question that at times. Okay, am I good enough of this person's for this person's love? Am I good enough to be part of this community? Am I worthy enough to get this job? Okay, all these different questions that can get in our head. And if you are the type of person who finds yourself triggered by this, it goes on and on and on and on. Okay, and you can't stop. Okay, Jet's mom, the worthy of love fits on many of us. Yeah, and that's it. That's it. And so many different triggers with it. Um, Probably one of the I was trying to figure out just one example of this, one example of what it is that person might have to heal from. And there were a couple things out there, but one of the ones that really stuck to me is this one. A person who's dealing with being triggered by feeling not worthy or good enough and dealing with that so many times may need to heal from growing up and feeling like they had to earn love, earn worthiness. They were only worthy if they were able to perform, whatever that performance was. I was only worthy if I got straight A's. Okay. I was only good enough, okay, if I made the football team or I was a head cheerleader or I got that role in a play. Okay. My parents only cared about me if I was able to do these things. You had to show you were worthy by what it was you did. And um Jet's mom, I got to a point where I don't give a F for the most part until someone makes me cry again. And that's the thing. Those are the things. But you know what? Even when we're dealing with these things, all of us are dealing with them because honestly, if we're dealing with this all this shit, that means we are addressing the issues for ourselves. I was saying this to someone the other day from our community. They made a comment on one of the channels about how they have been, whenever someone says something negative about them or they get in a fight, they try to go back and look at what actually caused it and what their part, not what the other person did wrong, but what they could learn from it. And I actually sent a message back to this person because I've seen a change in that person's behavior over the last couple years. They've truly become, okay, you can see people learn. Okay, I myself, in the time that I've been here, one of my biggest triggers before was I would not speak up. I would not speak up. I was scared to speak up. Okay, I was scared of being judged. And I've gotten to a point that I'm like, fuck it. You know what? Yes, I'm still scared, like you just said, Jet's mom. There's times that, yeah, you feel great and you're doing great with it, and then you mess up totally and you're a blubbering idiot again. Okay, but then you get right back up on. It's like anything else. You got to get on because in the end, we never truly learn everything that we need to know. There's still another lesson out there for us. And that's why I'm like, as long as you're working on something, you're a survivor. You're thriving because you're trying to thrive. Okay. Jet's mom, we live with it, we can champion above it. Exactly. Exactly. And we're all at different levels. That's the other thing. We're all at different levels. Some of us are at this point where, you know what? Other people might be like, wow, look, that person has it all together. And if you ask that person, they'd be like, oh, hell, I'm falling apart right now. And because they deal with it differently, they're dealing with different issues. Sorry, little puppy wants my attention. You gonna blip for everyone? No, you just want to kiss mommy. Yeah, they need a bath. My mom's been petting them with lotion on her hands and they're getting greasy. And I'm like, we are the champions. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna go there. So yeah. So a lot of times to get over something like this, it's recognizing in yourself that you don't have to do for others to be worthy. It doesn't matter what that other person thinks about you. Okay. It doesn't matter if your parents think you're a failure because you got a C on your report card. What matters is, did you do everything to the best of your ability? Okay. And if you didn't, what was your lesson? Where do you go? That's all that matters. And also recognizing that. Here comes Christola's favorite. You ready, Christola? You were mentioning this earlier. Getting triggered and worried that others are upset at you. Gang, put a 1 in chat if this is something that triggers you like crazy. I'm going to put 5 million ones in chat right now if I could, but I'm not going to write in chat. But yeah, 1. I am always freaking worried about, is so and so upset at me? Is so and so upset at me? What did I do something to upset them? Did they? Okay. I question myself all the freaking time, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yes, I've gotten much better. I will go to people and say, you know what? I just need to clarify, because before I started asking people, are we okay? I would hold it inside. And even if that person wasn't mad at me or anything like that, in my head, they were furious at me. And it got worse and worse and worse in hopes. Like, one. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Jet's mom, oh, please never look at me like I know anything. I'm just a human. Who cares? There you go. Rosalind, you're great at that. And that's one thing that I've always, really looked up to, is that ability. And I think that's something we learn and I'm learning it more and more now. It's taken me to hit my 50s before I did do that. But for years, even here on YouTube, okay, when I first came to YouTube, people would start talking, okay, or they all of a sudden they're not talking to me. This happened at one point. Someone got mad at me in the community, and next thing you knew, I noticed half of my friends weren't talking to me anymore. And I did not have the guts to just step up and say, are we okay? Is everything fine? And if I had just asked that, I would have found out. Okay. Or they would have found out the full story, maybe, or things like that. There's so much that could have been pulled together at that point. But I would not go up to them to ask anything because I was worried about what the answer wasn't. And now, yeah, because one thing I've learned about YouTube specifically is that I'm usually only hearing one side of the story. So if a friend comes to me and says, yeah, so and so's been doing this and this and this and this, and that person's my friend, I'm going to go to them and say, hey, what's going on? Or even if I don't know, okay, I'm going to look at behaviors. I'm going to look at what's happening. Okay, what are their responses to things and stuff like that? And if I need to contact them, I'll send them a message. And rather, because I'm learning that YouTube has a lot of lessons for us if we're willing to truly listen to it. I mean, I have grown more as a human being in the last 3 years than in years and years before that. But you got to be open to it. Hope. But I usually have said something. I talk without thinking or realizing the impact of your words. Then I worry, oh no, they are meant. Yes. And that's something I think a lot of people do. We start talking and saying stuff, and our words get ahead of our brain. And then we backtrack real quick. Hey, AJ, how you doing, my dear? DC, sorry. Hello, DC. And also having that time. So Someone, when we find our your dog can't pee in the correct space. Oh my gosh, I gave up on that. I literally, okay, Jet's mom, TMI, but I gotta tell you, by the way, I need to share with you this one product. I left my suitcase out laying on the floor, and little Mr. Wrigley decided it was a wonderful place to start marking, and I didn't realize it. So I have been using this, I think it's called Pee Off or something like that. And it's working. It's literally works. So I've got to send you what this stuff is. It works amazing. So, but anyhow, so those of us who get worried about others being upset, okay, great. You're recognizing it. What might have been from behind there as you're going through and trying to figure out, why do I react this way? I want to change that behavior, but it's not enough just to change the behavior. I need to understand why I am feeling this way. And so perhaps one of the things, maybe you dealt with a time that people were a little harsher with you. And harsh does not mean physical. Okay, it could be with ignoring, it could be with yelling, it could be many different things. But it was enough that at a certain time in your life, those domestication years, okay, that you were kind of second guessing things all the time. Okay, you were always worried that that person was mad at you because they just really tended to see a negative, everything negatively to begin with. And next, someone else actually used this word with me recently. And I'm like, no, 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 you aren't. Some people feel and feel horrible about it, that they're a burden. How many of us have caught ourselves saying, um, I don't want to burden you. I've got so much going on right now, but I don't want to tell anyone. I don't want to lay it out for anyone because I don't want to be a burden. Okay. Then you have other people who have no problem, it seems. Okay. They have no problem coming up and saying, you know what, this is going on in my life. I really need help, or whatever it is. I just need someone to listen, whatever it is. But for some people, this feeling like a burden is a something that's just stuck there as a trigger that upsets you and that you can't get beyond. Okay. You don't want to ever let people know where you are in life because you are so worried you're going to be seen as a burden. Okay. And people might not like you because of that. I know it's something that many of us do on different levels, and also different things on that. So one of the things with that, and I'm hitting the 1 hour, so I'm going to kind of go through some of these. K Crochet's got a one there. Okay. A lot of times the way we behave as adults comes down to how we had to behave as a child. Okay. If a person as a child may have found that many times they did not share their needs, okay, or anything like that because they would not have been answered. Sometimes a child, we've talked about this before, when a child tries to state what they need or how they feel to someone and that person ignores them, that child just stops asking. I mean, why keep asking if the person's going to keep ignoring you, right? And that's what kind of happens in this. What does that turn into as we get older for some people? Is this feeling that, you know what, I could not state how I felt when I was a child. Okay. And it doesn't have, like I said, it doesn't mean that the people you were around at that time were bad people. Okay. It doesn't mean abuse or anything like that. It just might be the way things were. Okay. How people were, okay. How people grew up at that time, what the culture was like at that time, to be ethnically. Okay. There are certain cultures where that's the way children are. And, but you get to that point where you don't feel comfortable saying how you feel. So as you get older, when you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, you don't share that stuff because of that reason. And next, and the dogs are really getting loud. You're triggered when you spend money on yourself. Okay. A lot of people feel like they are not worth spending money on. You go out shopping and you have to buy yourself new clothes or a new pair of shoes or something, and you feel bad. Christola, we are down to only one more after this, and I'm going to actually finish up because I do need to grab me some dinner before Cantina also. And so, K crochet. Oh, wow, hun. Yeah. Nope, I get it. Exactly. And that's it with K crochet. Yeah. You say something that's your truth and people jump on you for that. Okay, I think that's what you're trying to say, and that makes sense. At some point, you stop saying what your truth is because, yeah, you don't want to deal with that. So it's important for you to be able to understand that, for you to be able to go back to this one, for you to understand that you are worthwhile, where you are and how you feel does matter. But you've got to come to that term so that you can start addressing that feeling like you're always a burden to other people. And so with the money bit, a lot of times people who grew up, okay, perhaps, and it doesn't even mean they have to be in poverty. Okay. It could honestly be the thing that they could be from a millionaire family. But that person who was the parent in that millionaire family was like, nope, we don't spend money on anything. I've known people in this case. I've actually known people who had tons of money, but they would not let anyone, okay, spend money. And that hope I am during Cantina. I do hope to talk about Lahaina during Cantina for sure tonight. People will be able to come up on panel, talk with me also. But I've had a lot of people asking me to talk about Maui again. So we are going to talk about that. So, oh wow, K crochet. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You didn't talk growing up because you were jumped at just for breathing. And it drills into your brain. It does. It drills into your brain. I mean, sometimes the smallest thing that we don't think would affect us, it does. When you grow up and your whole life is like, oh, you don't talk because I'm going to get yelled at. I got yelled at one time at my grandma's dinner table for Thanksgiving. We would go to the mainland for Thanksgiving. And she yelled at us one time for interrupting her, and I was scared to talk for months after that. And things like that do affect stuff. And so definitely, Crystal, I'm loving these links you're sharing, by the way. I really am loving these. So, and the last one I did want to address was being this feeling of being triggered by feeling dismissed or invalidated. Okay. It kind of goes along with the thing being a burden, okay, not wanting to speak your truth, all these different things. But this feeling like we've all been in the situation where people that you care about kind of glance over you. Okay. You're trying to show them something. Maybe something as stupid as maybe you got your hair cut. Okay. And you come home and you're just waiting for someone to notice. You're waiting for someone to notice and no one notices. So, like I've lost weight. Okay. And I'll go see my friends and everything who haven't seen me in months and stuff. So I know they can tell that I've seen weight. And I'm like, I'm waiting for them to say something. I'm waiting for that they don't say something. And part of me all of a sudden feels a little triggered. Like I don't, that I'm being dismissed, that they're not caring about any of this stuff, all the stuff that I've done, that type of thing. And all starts happening. Now, why? Why would that upset me so much? Okay, well, sometimes it could be something as easy as maybe growing up you weren't allowed to have or show emotions. Okay, so when you see other people not having those emotions or showing those emotions, it just triggers the hell out of you. So, AJ is saying, let's not forget the classic. I don't do drama, or I don't want to be brought into drama when you try to open up to somebody that you felt where you're getting close. AJ, I'm going to send you a message after, by the way. I should have added more context to my last content. Okay. Stuff that people would say to make you not want to open up, to make feel like a burden, like narcissistic greatest hits. Yes, I got you. I got you. And so there's so many things. I actually, gang, I want you to know right now, this is where I pulled all this from. I mean, amazing. Okay, it's a soul guide healer that I came across and was so wonderful. She took it from someone else actually, and there was just so much from it that I was like, ooh, this is really interesting. And that's what I tend to do on these days. But I think where it comes down to, gang, hey, hi priestess, how you doing, my dear? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I think a lot of this comes down to when we're dealing with our triggers. Our triggers can teach us a hell of a lot. Okay, I've said over and over, we can't change other people. We can't change how people respond, how people act, or anything like that. Nope. You're on Hawaiian time, High Priestess. That's all. Hawaiian time, everything's late. No worries. You're good. And um, but yeah, we can learn so much from these triggers. When we feel ourselves, we can't change what other people do or how people act or things like that, but we can see how we feel. How do we react to something? When we find ourselves getting triggered by something, okay, and we find ourselves responding with one of those F's, flight, fight, freeze, friend, fawn, or flop. Okay, there's something there. There's something there, and we need to, as part of trying to help ourselves, we need to be able to figure out what that is. And sometimes that requires seeing a therapist and working on it together. Sometimes it is coming into a group that you trust or that people that you trust and being able to help share things there. Okay, just being able to address those things. And bit by bit, you're not going to solve all of them at once, but you can deal with them one at a time. So hopefully that helps you guys tremendously with that because there's a couple of those that actually I'm actually going to work on in the next week, actually. So, but we are going to be going on to Cantina next in just over 45 minutes. Like I said to Hope, I will be talking a little bit about Maui because a lot of people are asking me about Maui, and I've actually got notes. I've been talking to some people from Maui before I officially went. Why am I radiating purple? Am I radiating purple? I love purple. Purple's my favorite color. Purple's like my fave color. So, and I'm a purple gal. And no, I did not dye my hair purple. Same color, gray, gray. Am I showing purple or something? Or is it just the background that's showing purple? I'm wondering about this now. How much of me is showing purple? Because this is actually blue. Who knows? Who knows? We are doing Cantina Jets, Mom. It's going to be, like I said, a lot of people have asked, would I be willing to talk a little bit about Maui? Oh, heck yes. I will be willing to talk about Maui. I've been doing a lot of talking to people there. I got some pictures. Not all of them have come in yet. From some of the people there. I've been trying to find out. I was going to do an actual follow-up coming up soon. I've been trying to find out exactly more on the donation side. I'm finding out food is the biggie right now. But it's also Cantina time. So it's going to be a combo of everything. People come up on panel. We can talk story. We may start on talking about good old Maui, and then we may end up talking about God knows what, because anyone who's been at Cantina knows Cantina goes all over the place. Your parents arrived today. You'll have to let me know how things are going there. And my brother's actually going to be over there, and he's going to take some more pictures for me too. That was the other thing I was waiting on. So, but I've been talking to a couple people, and he's been talking to a couple people and getting more information. So, my thing right now is I don't want people to forget Maui because this is going to be a marathon for them. Okay, and while we're all moving on to the next subject and stuff like that, they're going to still be dealing with it. That'd be great. That'd be great, Jet's mom. That would be great because there's a lot going on. There's also a lot of misinformation going on out there too. So helping out with that is good too. So, but we'll also talk other things. If you guys have other things you want to talk story about, we're there for that. So, but talking Cantina, as soon as I finish this, if you just stick here, it should send you over to Cantina. Cantina will start in 45 minutes. Hopefully I'll have just enough time to go grab myself something to eat. I've got some Pokeball stickers to work on tonight because my big painting I'm doing is in the other room and it's like way too big. Everyone's talking about the purple today. Yay! I love my purple. I love my purple. And I used to have a director of nursing who was a purple fanatic. I mean, major fanatic. Her whole office was purple. She would wear purple. It was like purple, purple. And yeah, big time purple. And I just remembered something, Crystal. I almost forgot about it. Oh my God, I can't believe I almost forgot about it. But Cristola knows all about my love of purple. And you guys will know that soon. So please join us, stay with us, and we'll just hang out and talk story for a couple hours tonight. Probably going to keep it to around 2 hours, give or take, mainly because Mom and I are trying to finish up some stuff real quickly. So, but other than that, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, anyhow, you do, Crystal. I'm actually working on. Well, Crystal has something I'm going to share in a second. Um, and then I do want to do something with a background with some wording and stuff like that. And then I am going to be working on some intros thanks to one of our community members who's helping me with writing a song right now. So, Hope, what is Cantina? Cantina is on this channel. Just hang out here on this channel. Basically, every Friday from midnight Eastern Time till 2 a.m. Eastern Time, if I'm available, which is can be hit or miss sometimes because of work. Um, it's just to sit and talk story. You guys all come up on panel if you want, stay in chat if you want. The only rule, those of you in chat can type this in because I know y'all know this rule. There's only one rule thing with Cantina. You can come up on panel. I do need to see you behind the scenes just so I know it's you and not someone else. Yeah, I used to drink during Cantina. I still will, but I limit it to one or two. I have gone way too far before on Cantina. Um, but the only rule is no drama. No drama. I believe all of us can get together and get along for 2 hours without going to drama. And also, that's the one and only rule. So I will see you guys in almost 43 minutes. At this point, you guys get to be the first ones to see this little outro that our dear Cristola made for me today. And she sent it to me this morning and I got excited. And she does a great job. So I will see you guys all at Cantina in 43 minutes. Love y'all tons. Aloha and mahalo.